stand. Join me in welcoming from the back left, Mr. Donald Trump. Everywhere we go, it's record-setting crowds because people want to see our country be great again. It's very simple. It's so sad what's happening, and I'm going to be doing something on June 16th, I think, that will really surprise a lot of people, because we sort of all as a group can't take this anymore. We can't take it. We have people that are grossly incompetent running the country. They're running it into hell. You look at what's going on with China, with Mexico, with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is an amazing case. They make, think of it, $1 billion. They're making so much, they don't know what's going on, so much money. $1 billion a day. And we take care of them. I don't mind taking care of them. Let them pay. They'll be happy to if the right person asks. You look at China, they're taking our jobs. They're taking it like we're babies. They're devaluing their currency so that companies that we have, and this includes agriculture, big league, by the way. You know that better than anybody. But they devalue their currency to a point that it's almost hard to believe that somebody in Washington doesn't know what's happening. Then we give them dinners honoring them like they're great, wonderful people, like they're our friends. They're not our friends. Mexico's not our friends. What Mexico does to us on the border, with people pouring through like water, like a sieve. And don't kid yourself, Mexico's the new China for this country. Mexico is taking our jobs. They're building plants all over the place. We're losing our jobs. And last week, I don't know if you saw it was like incredible. Our gross domestic product actually is below zero. It's unheard of. You look at these other countries, they're thriving. They're through the roof. They don't even want to report the real numbers because it's embarrassing. And they're getting much of it from us. Because we have leaders that don't know what they're doing. We have leaders that are incompetent. You know, I call our leaders in terms of negotiating, I call them the 5 foot. We have a president, I call him the 5-to-1 president. You know what that means? We get Bergdahl, a traitor. We get Bergdahl, and they get 5 killers that are back on the battlefields that they've wanted for years. And this is the deal we make. And it's no different with Iran. And it's no different with so many other places. So we have to get tough. We have to get smart. We're losing our country. We're losing the American dream. And with me, it's all about, and it's so important, it's all about, and it's very simple, not simple to do, but very simple. We have to make our country great again. It's a phrase. So I'll give you a couple of little anecdotes because it's hard to believe. Actually, it's hard to believe. I'm not a fan of politicians. I've made a fortune with politicians. If you can't make money with a politician, there's something wrong. You're not very good. And I deal with them at the highest level. And frankly, I deal with Democrats, Republicans. I deal with all of them, okay? The Republicans and the Democrats, but politicians, they're not going to bring us back to the promised land. They don't know where to begin. They don't know where to begin. So we're talking about this ridiculous trade pact. You've been hearing about it, reading about it. So I was called by some of the big newspapers a week ago. And I've been talking about this for a year. It's about the currency. It's about devaluation. China's beating us with devaluation. They're not beating us with a better product. The product's not as good. They're beating us with devaluation. So the trade pact is with a vast number of countries. Instead of doing individual, we can't do individual contracts. We can't do 11 contracts. So they add all these countries. So in the group, look, they all take advantage of us. They all think we're stupid, meaning our leaders are stupid. Every one of them. So that's okay. Let them think we're stupid. But what happens is some are better than others. Some probably think we're less stupid than maybe our leaders actually do. So what happens is we're making one contract for all of this large number of countries. You have to do individual contracts because the people that really treat us badly, those countries that really treat us badly, they benefit by the countries that treat us well and that we sort of cater to. So what are we doing? We can't negotiate 11 different contracts or the number of countries. We have to change a lot of contracts. We have to change our deal with Mexico. We have to change our deal with China. We can't sustain this. We can't take the losses that we're taking. I'll give you an example about Mexico. They're killing us at the border. People are flowing through by the hundreds of thousands. And you know, you're not coming in. We're not getting the best and the finest. They're too smart. They're not saying, just think of it, common sense. Do you think they're giving, I spoke to a couple of border patrolmen the other day. I said, what's the quality of people coming in? Oh, Mr. Trump, you don't want to know. Now, they didn't really have to tell me that because I'm a business guy, I'm a common sense. I made a lot of money with common sense. Real common sense. They didn't have to tell me what's coming in, but I just asked them. It was a wedding at one of my clubs, and these people were serving us like, I don't know, they were the friends of the man getting married. And I was bored stiff, because I hardly even know these people. I don't even know how the hell I ended up. I think they paid a lot of money for the wedding, so I went. And I meet these two guys. What do you do? Well, we're border patrolmen on the southern border. Oh, that's great. How bad is it? Mr. Trump, you have no idea. These are two good-looking, smart guys. They say, you have no idea how bad it is, Mr. Trump. I said, who's coming in? They say, people that you don't want. I said, do we have some good ones? Yeah, a little bit. I said, what percent? Maybe 10%. 10%. I said, so how bad? He said, these are the people we don't want. Now, you have killers, you have drug guys, you have rapists. This is what we're getting. And then we're sending them all over the country. You know that. We're putting them in the planes, we're putting them all over the place, we're sending them all over the country. So we're taking in this stuff. Now, it's not only Mexico. And you know about Mexico? If you want to become a citizen of Mexico, it's one of the hardest countries in the world to become a citizen of. But they send them through. It's like we're a railroad. They send them through. And we're getting people that we don't want. We're becoming like a dumping ground for the world. We're a dumping ground. I say it. It's a horrible thing to say. I say that. I say two things that are really, I hate to say it, but we're like a dumping ground. And these guys confirmed it. I said, how bad are they? They said, you don't want to know, Mr. Trump. We're getting people that are horrible. Now, some good people come in, I guess, but very few. Now, again, common sense. If you're like the head, you're not sending you good people, you're sending you bad people to the stupid people that are going to take them. And we can't even send them back, and we don't even know. And then they want to have a law that we can only judge the people from the day they come in. So if they're murderers or drug dealers in Mexico, we can't look at that. We have to look at how that, can you believe this level of stupidity? The level of stupidity. But let me tell you another thing about it. So Mexico's becoming a big economic force. So last week, front page of the Wall Street Journal, big story, that Ford is going to build a major plant to make cars, trucks, and parts in Mexico. And they're going to make these cars, trucks, and parts, and they're going to send them to the United States, no tax. Now, you're all smart people. Most of you are hard-working people. I think everybody in this room is hard-working. People in Iowa are hard-working. They are. A friend of mine asked me, a wise guy in New York, he said, what do people like from Iowa work? I said, you know, very simple. They're hardworking and they love the country. It's true. They love the country and they're hardworking. It's great. And it's one of the reasons I'm doing so well in Iowa, because that's what it's all about. So in Mexico, I said to myself, why are we doing that? How does this help us? Ford is coming in to build a plant. They're going to make cars and trucks and parts, and they're going to send them into their country. That means we're not going to build a plant, and we're not going to make those cars, and we're not going to have that involved. We're going to employ thousands of Mexicans making Fords to send to us. How does that help us? Stupid people think it's wonderful, free trade. Now, free trade is fine. The problem with free trade is you need smart leaders. Because free trade's a disaster if we have dumb people leading, and that's what we have. We have people that don't have a clue. So I said to myself, well, what would I do if on the 16th I announce that I'm running? Watch what happens. You're going to have a lot of happy people. And I win. You know, I'm going against all these. I'm going against all these politicians. All talk, no actions. All bullshit. I mean, I'm with them all the time. I've been dealing with them all my life. All my life. But I see them walking the stage. The moon will rise and the sun tomorrow will come up. And I'm saying, oh, just get us jobs. We don't want this stuff. I hear them all the time. And to me, it's not even good speakers. To me, it's not. Because it's just words. It doesn't mean anything. They're good at one thing. Remember this. They're good at saving their jobs. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. So I'm like a lone wolf in this pack. And believe me, I don't need the lobbyists. I don't need the donors. I don't need anything. I'm just doing something. I don't even want to. I work at great companies, and what I will do on the 16th, if I decide to do, you know, I have to say that because it's very important to say that. But I'm going to give my financial statements. People are going to be shocked how good. They're great. Very little debt, tremendous. I built a great company in a relatively short period of time. A great company, some of the greatest real estate assets in the world. And that's the mindset. That's the mindset that our country needs in its leader. We have to get our best negotiators. I know them all from Wall Street. I know the great ones. I know the bad ones. I know the overrated ones. I know them all. We have to get our smartest negotiators, not some guy that gets a job negotiating against China because he's a political donor and he's incompetent. We need our best and our finest and our brightest. And I know them all. And I do. I know the overrated. I know some guys you think they're smart, they're not. I know people you never heard of, they're the smartest of all. And I'll put one in China, I'll put one against Japan, I'll put one against Mexico. And let me tell you, those countries don't have a chance. We will do very well. We will make a lot of money. We'll save Social Security without cuts. So what happens? I said to myself, what would I do with the Ford? Well, I'll tell you what I do with Ford. Okay, I wouldn't even use one of my killer friends. Because it's so easy. I'd rather do this one myself. I may have to report in some form that I'm going to make the calls. You know, this whole thing is so crazy. But I would call up the head of Ford, nice guy. I'd say, congratulations on your plant. I think it's wonderful. $2.5 billion. It's wonderful that you're going to make cars and trucks and you're going to send them to us. Okay? In fact, why don't you just let the illegals that are pouring through, let them drive them over the border. Then we can have everything. Remember, we're a dumping ground, remember. So we can have them all have a truck, a car, just until they get, then we can sell it to some American and we get nothing out of it, okay? But I would say to the head of Ford, congratulations on your new plant. I think it's wonderful. But here's the bad news. I'm going to charge you 35% tax on every single car, truck, and part that you make that comes in. If another person, one of the political people that you see that are up here, that, you know, perhaps I'll be competing about with a little while, okay? If one of these people are in that same position, they're going to be called, and they may even say that. They may even say that. You know, we just lost a big plant from Tennessee. It's going again to Mexico. Big car plant, like $1 billion plant also. But it's going. So, you know, so they may even say it. But here's what's going to happen when the political guys do it. One of their donors or one of the lobbyists, and I have lobbyists too. I have lobbyists all over the place. They're wonderful. They do whatever I tell them to do. They're wonderful. I pay them. And Ford has lobbyists. Believe me, they have lobbyists. And so does Mexico have lobbyists against us. They have lobbyists against us. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to say, well, that's really unfair. We're not going to let that happen. But then they're going to get a phone call from donors and lobbyists. And they're going to say, wait a minute. They supported your campaign. You can't hurt Ford by doing this. That's a terrible thing. That's a terrible thing. You can't do this. And these guys and people, whoever it may be, are going to say, you're right, they did support me. Okay, I'll let them send in the cars for no tax, etc., etc. Okay? Now here's the difference. I would say Ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. And then what they're gonna do is they're gonna say, hang up, Mr. President, this is terrible that you're doing. Well, it's all right, 35% tax. You're gonna pay it, or you're gonna move the plant back into our country. Well, we're not gonna do it. So here's what's gonna happen with me. Guaranteed, just like you're sitting there. That's why I say I'll do it myself, because it's only a couple of phone calls, okay? Thousands of jobs, but it's only a couple of phone calls. They'll call me back probably within the hour, but let's say at the latest the following day. I'd like to speak to Mr. Trump, to President Trump. I'd like to speak to him. I'd say, yes. Say, Mr. Trump, we really want to be able to stay in Mexico. I said, that's okay. And you're going to pay. Then, Mr. Trump, President Trump, we're going to move our plant back into the United States. Now, as sure as you're sitting there, and that's so easy, all you have to do is say it. That's so easy. And they will be back and they will cancel that deal in 2 seconds. And Mexico will be very angry. Now, again, Mexico, China, these countries are not our friends. I'm saying it's fine to do business with. And I'm a big free trader. I believe in free trade. The problem with free trade is you need smart people on your side. And we don't have smart people. We have dumb people. We have incompetent people. We have political hacks. We don't have smart people. Free trade's great, but you gotta have smart people. So I would tell them, that's great news. And you're gonna build your plant now in the United States? Yes, sir, we are. I say, very good, congratulations. And when the lobbyists call me, and when the donors call me, I say, you're not a donor because I don't need your money. I never took any of your money. I don't want anybody's money. I got a lot of money. I made a lot of money. So I don't have any donors. And I don't need lobbyists. I hire lobbyists when I want something. I don't need these people. So with me, they don't have any impact. The problem with the politicians and the people that talk about the moon and the sun and rising and everybody's going to be happy and nothing happens except we get killed by every nation in the world. The problem with that is they're all controlled by their donors and their lobbyists. I'm a donor to many politicians. They respond to me very well. I don't know about lately, you know, now sort of. I say, what the hell happened to him, man? So, we have tremendous problems. Let me tell you another story that's a great story. I have a friend who's a